Hey guys, this is day 94. Remember that last video I said that by yesterday I should have, finished Second Corinthians? Well, I didn't. Yeah, just again, and I could have totally done it. Yeah, I could have totally done it, like record the video, but I didn't. Because again, I'm struggling a lot with laziness, procrastination. Yeah, which again may be a consequence of me procrastinating in schoolwork sometimes, but except I am getting that stuff done, but not getting this done, which technically this would be more important, but I mean, hey, just get both things done. Yeah, it's procrastination and laziness, really. Have been acting up a lot. Yeah, have been happening. So, but well, nevertheless, today got the last chapter, 2 Corinthians. I still haven't decided what book I'll do after this, tomorrow. Maybe Philippians. Yeah, maybe Philippians. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So, again, it's gonna be the same dynamic. Not gonna read every single verse from the chapter, although this chapter is pretty short. I'm gonna just read the ones that stood out to me and emphasize them. And to put you guys in context, of course, it's, if not the same, it follows the context of the previous chapter, which in this case it would be the same context as last chapter. That was that Paul was encouraging the Church of Corinth, the Corinthian believers, to make sure they weren't lukewarm, to make sure they weren't lukewarm, because they were acting not in a Christ-like way, let's say. And yes, Paul also, St. Paul also tells them to be bold in, holding each other accountable, in in building up one another, as he is doing, as we have clearly seen and heard. Well, in your case, maybe heard. As we know, this boldness that he has been using, that it is very, very, very important, because again, he doesn't want to come off, or I'm not sure it would be, to make sense, it wouldn't be like, it wouldn't make sense to come off as, like a nice person, or, someone who doesn't like correct them, someone who's just like supporting them, someone who just tells them what they want to hear. But again, that wouldn't be Jesus, right? That would be just a prosperity gospel, and we don't want that. No, we don't want that. That is peak lukewarmism. That is, oh my goodness. Okay. Chapter 4, verse 4. For he being Jesus, for he was crucified in weakness, but lives by the power of God. For we being Paul and his disciples, for we also are weak in him, but in dealing with you, we will live with him by the power of God. We're all weak, okay? We're all, I'm not gonna say that word, but we're all kind of slow. We're all really stupid. We all do like stupid mistakes. I mean, except Jesus, right? For Paul, Peter, the apostles, their disciples, everyone has done. Think of the stupidest thing you've ever done in your life, and there may be a couple up there. It shows our weakness, that again, we cannot rely on our own understanding, that we cannot be our own gods. Oh my gosh. Yes, we cannot just live for ourselves, because by that same twisted and illogical logic, I mean, you are making yourself your own God, which constantly changes, and if not 50%, most of the time fails, messes up, and has its own moral value, this own subjective morality. Again, always changing based on what fits best in the situation. I mean, it is clear, and not only by our own lives, it has been also shown throughout history that people that don't follow God, that have any other God but the Christian God, let's say, that people that worship false gods, that is, famous false gods, or maybe, themselves, have ended up, almost destroying the world, creating chaos, instead of, having peace. This, again, is only one of many, 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 many reasons, and one of many pieces of evidence of what happens when people don't follow Christ, when people would rather choose themselves or the world or anything else but Christ, which makes obvious to us Christians, followers of Christ, that we ourselves, by ourselves, we cannot be, worthy of anything in heaven. If we are worthy of anything, we would, it would be death. But again, we know the story. We know, we have an idea, at least, of why Jesus came, of what he did, why he did it. This again to show that we are nothing. We are nothing without him. We are nothing without him. We cannot live fully. We cannot love fully. We just, again, we cannot be fulfilled. We will always have this void that won't be filled ever with anything. But again, with the power of God, we are able to live. We are redeemed. And this same power resurrected Jesus from the dead, and again, saved us from what we technically do deserve. And then verse 5, again, what I was telling, in accordance with the context. Examine yourselves to see whether you are in the faith. Test yourselves. Or do you not realize this about yourselves, that Jesus Christ is in you, unless indeed you fail to meet the test? I mean, it's not easy to instantly, recognize whether you are a lukewarm Christian or not. I mean, most of the time it takes a painful event or some sort of event to wake you up, kind of, to make you realize, to remind you that, okay, dude, you're not living for Christ. You are, again, just cherry picking what you like and what you don't, so you can have more pleasure, I guess. So again, you're not picking up your cross. You are just aware of the existence of God, and you claim to follow him, but your life shows otherwise. The way you act, the way you speak, very important, because it flows from the heart. The way you think, the way you love, it all shows whether you truly follow Jesus or you don't, whether you are lukewarm or you're not. And again, this is very important, but especially today, especially nowadays, that pride is at an maybe not all-time high, but it's among top 5 most prideful generations. We don't want to, again, test ourselves because we think we are, all righteous, or because we think that, oh, Jesus died, so I guess I'm free to sin because I've been saved now. No. And yes, this may seem obvious to some people, to a great amount of Christians, but it's not as obvious as you might think. So some people, they actually think this. And people that are not like atheists or anything, no, that like actual Christians think this way. And they just refuse to, again, leave these sinful practices. They would rather, hold on to this false Jesus that either they were shown or that they themselves have created in their own minds. Which, again, if you are not being prideful, if out of humility, test your own self, test yourself, reminisce, or I think that's a word, I don't know, just review your life so far. Are you actually living for Jesus? Does your life look any different from how it was before you knew Jesus, before you actually knew Jesus? Because again, yes, you might be born into a Christian family, and And your parents may be like super devoted, and you know they might know all this, but at the end of the day, they cannot follow Jesus for you. You have to not figure out your own truth, no, but you have to figure out the truth on your own. Wait, hold on, that was kind of good. Okay, what I'm trying to say is you have to understand this by yourself. Not saying that it won't be the same. It should lead to the same conclusion, to the same, beliefs. To the same God that true Christians worship. But again, no one can do it for you. No amount, like, no amount of like teachings, I guess. And I'm not saying in the wrong way, but it doesn't matter again whether you were raised by atheists, in an atheist household, in a Christian household, in in a Hindu household, in just whatever, in any household with the teachings that this household stands by, they cannot understand Jesus for you. You have to, have your own walk with Christ. I'm not saying, hear me out. What I'm not saying is figure out your own version of Jesus. Absolutely not. It should lead to the same version, or like to the real Jesus. It should lead to the real Jesus. The Jesus that the Bible, describes. The Jesus that is God, that we worship. But yes, again, wait, hold on. I just think that phrase was kind of good. Again, not to brag, but hey, you don't have, like, okay, there's no way I just forgot it. You don't figure out your own truth, you figure out the truth on your own. I mean, it could be very easily misinterpreted, because again, it can lead to someone, justifying following their own truth. But I don't know, it just made sense in my head. Again, going back, test yourself, not meaning tempt yourself, but be humble enough to recognize where you are failing and improve in that way. For example, in my case, I am, like, at least lately, I've been lazy. And maybe not in like the doing nothing 24 hours a day. I mean, yeah, I could, but of course not. Like procrastination too. I mean, like this past month at least, I have been going to sleep late because again of procrastination and just wandering off. Which, yes, I do. I recognize it. However, sometimes I just don't do anything about it. And sometimes I do, do something about it. I do something about it, yes. And many people can confuse, doing something, like struggling in sin and keep struggling in sin because they just can't or won't overcome it, and actually wanting to improve in order to stop struggling with this sin. It is very, very dangerous to think that you cannot overcome this sin. I mean, dude, do you not realize who you worship? But hey, that's something you gotta be able to, if not recognize a lot of times, maybe to know it, to be able to say, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, back to the main point. Test yourself so that you may improve in your walk with Christ. Basically what summarizes verse 5. And you will be able to succeed because, again, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit that resurrected Christ, lives inside of you. So unless it's by your own choice, you cannot really, you cannot at all be, overcome by any thing or anyone. Of course, don't you use this logic to try to, lift a mountain and throw it on the sea. I mean, come on. It's Christianity is, and since it's proven by logic, it works on logic. Except for miracles, But these miracles are not about, illogical. It's not about making a circle a square. Like a squared circle. No, it's impossible. But it is logical in the way of, multiplying fishes. Because, yeah, you totally could imagine it. Because, yes, it is illogical, but not impossible. Well, at least we have seen in the Bible that it's not impossible anymore. Okay, and then verse 10. For this reason, I, being Paul, write these things while I am away from you, that when I come, I may not have to be severe in my use of the authority that the Lord has given me for building up and not for tearing down. And then verse 11, finally, brothers, rejoice, aim for restoration, comfort one another, agree with one another, live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you. Okay. See how in verse 10, Paul says that this authority that has been given to me by Jesus, to build up and not tear down, which in many cases it may seem, you may confuse both, but often, for example, with a construction site, you cannot, start building a house in a zone where, or in a place where, there's already a building. No, you gotta, put down the building. You gotta destroy that building in order to build the house. The same with building up. In order to, especially with us, with our flesh, that pretty much has had hold of us our entire lives, up until you decided to, change that, with Jesus, of course. This, that fleshly way of living, that worldly way of living has to be, destroyed, as again, this hypothetical building is being destroyed, so the house, so this, in this case, this way more valuable and powerful building can be constructed, can be, built, which in this case would be a relationship with, Jesus. A new life where you can build your walk with Christ. And I'm not saying this relationship with Jesus in a okay, I only need Jesus, it's only me, my Bible, and Jesus. I mean, no, dude. There's so much more to that. I mean, it is not limited to, just the me, my Bible, and Jesus adventures. No, I mean, gosh. The people that just limit themselves to this are not only relying on their own understanding, but they are missing out on so much stuff. They are missing out on so many more stuff that Jesus left us, that Jesus taught his apostles, and that their apostles left us with the traditions that bring us closer to Jesus. It is not only, a relationship. These people that say it's not a religion, it's a relationship. Christianity is a religion, okay? Right off the bat, people try to make your walk with Jesus like aesthetic, make it like, I don't know, like some kind of adventure, I guess, that it's all sunshine and rainbows, like, oh, me and Jesus, whatever. I mean, it's not at all like that. It is not aesthetic at all. It sucks. But it's not it sucks that it's not worth it. It's totally the opposite. It sucks that builds you up, that makes you a better person. It sucks that, again, gives you eternal life, of course. Well, sure, let's go ahead and put it that way. It sucks that makes you a follower of Christ. And yes, I am saying this, but I mean, yeah, it's not even been like 2 years since I actually locked in with Christ, but so far, it has sucked a lot. There have been a lot of situations in which it sucked, and I wanted to, hypothetically go home and literally, and, just live the way I was living. But I mean, nah, it's not worth it. Okay. Again, these teachings that Jesus leave us are for building each other up, and not tearing down in the way that, in this case, tearing down would be leading people, or leading people away from Jesus. That would be tearing down. But building up would be, of course, the complete opposite. Leading people towards Jesus. And then verse 11, this one's very good. That again says, aim for restoration, aim for improvement, aim for, not being sinless, but to sinning less. Not that, again, you're not gonna earn your way to salvation. No, you're not gonna work your way to salvation. No, but I mean, you have to strive to be more like Jesus every day. And since Jesus was perfect, in a way, you should be aiming for perfection, even though you're never gonna have it. You're never gonna be like perfect, because no one is like, of course, no one's like Jesus. But however, it is our responsibility as Christians to, again, aim for restoration and comfort one another, build each other up, sharpen one another, agree with one another, and this agree with one another does not mean like, someone saying something totally wrong, getting their theology totally wrong, and you saying, okay, yeah, it says agreeing with one another, so yeah, I will agree. No, it means discussing these things. Like, sure, in a way, debate one another. Like, have questions, It's like, learn. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace will be with you. The summary of this chapter is, again, you don't want to be, lukewarm. You don't want to be following the wrong Jesus. You don't want to be leading other people away if you truly, follow Christ. You don't want to be leading people away from Jesus, but towards Jesus. And also, you don't want to, catch yourself, or you don't want to be cherry picking, for example, verses from the Bible to justify your actions, to justify the actions from your desires. To, fit the Bible to your own agenda, to your own sinful lifestyle. How do you know then? How do you distinguish between, lukewarm and actually devoted Christians? Well, you gotta check for fruit. And not only fruit, but good fruit. And again, if you are rooted in this thing, you would at least be able to recognize a few good fruits or a few bad fruits, You would be able to at least recognize whether someone is lukewarm and those who, again, are actually following Christ. Okay, that was it. Yeah. Stay blessed, stay rooted, and stay prayed up. Bye.